Welcome to all the students of FY BCom once again. Today's topic is interview skills under our course Employability Skill Enhancement Program. Under this topic, we will see the meaning of interview, types of interview, tips for interviewer, and the tips or techniques for interviewing. So let us start today's lecture. Interview skills. So without any delay, let us start the today's element of soft skill, that is interview skills. First, we will go through the meaning of the interview. See, an interview is a formal meeting in which a person or person's question consult or evaluate another person or persons. Reporters and writers have meetings with eminent persons to ask questions to gather material for a media story and broadcast. It is an oral face-to-face communication. I know, or you have also seen a lot of interviews on TV. Reporters taking the interviews or the writers taking the interviews. And this particular interview is a type of formal meeting. Why? Because you don't know the person whom you are interviewing. Okay. So that is why it is a formal meeting. One person asked the question and the another person answered it back. And it is a basically oral communication and a face-to-face communication. So this is what your interview is. An interview reveals the ideas, thoughts, views, and attitudes of the person being interviewed, as well as the skills of the interviewer. Interviewer is a person who basically takes the interview. Okay? So this is what the meaning of interview is. Now let us see the types of interview. See, there are various types of interview and we will see it one by one. The first one is assessment interview. See, this interview is conducted to assess the achievements of subordinates. It is a periodical assessment of employees, and this kind of interview is more in a discussion form rather than question answer form. Okay? And generally it is arranged as soon as a year or a particular period is completed by a candidate. This type of interview is basically done to judge the or to assess the employees working in the organization. You can also say this type of interview can also be called, or it is called as appraisal interview. Okay? And basically the following topics are discussed, like past goals and targets, future goals and targets, strategies to improve performance, what are the experiences or the assessment of performance is done of the employees, and review and determination of promotion is also done. So this is the assessment interview. Like the students are assessed, in the same way in this also the employees are assessed. Okay? So this is what your assessment interview is. The next one is promotion interview. See, promotion interview is conducted even when there are not multiple workers qualifying for the post. This interview is sometimes informal in nature. During this time of interview, clarification about like nature or duties, responsibilities and expectations, etc. are being asked by the employee. Okay? So this is what your promotion interview is. Next one is problem interview. See, a problem interview is conducted for an employee with whom the organization or agency finds a problem. So basically the employees who has some problem with the organization or agency in which he or she is working. So for that people or for that employees, such interview is conducted. That is your problem interview. It is arranged when an employee, despite the warnings and intimations, continues with his or her earlier way of behavior. So the intention to arrange such interview is to find out the cause of such behavior and to help the quality of work as well as the relation of the employee with his or her fellow workers. So basically it is done to find out why the particular employee is behaving in that manner and what are the problems does he or she is facing, and the organization try to improve such problems which are caused by such employees. So for this problem interview is conducted. Next comes the exit interview. An exit interview is a sort of grievance interview. Okay. It may be arranged for an employee or worker who has resigned or wishes to leave the organization or company for a specific purpose. So for those kind of people, the exit interview is conducted. Such an interview with the employee ought to be held after the farewell celebration given to the employee by his colleagues. Okay? Basically, this interview is conducted by the management or by the company or by the employer to discover the motives or the purposes behind leaving the job by the employee, or voluntarily, or whether he has retired or voluntarily, why he has left the job. So basically, to find out or to get the feedback of the such kind of employees, the exit interview is conducted. And the feedback received during the interview is used for further improvement of the functioning of the organization, company, or a firm. You can say it. So this is what your exit interview is. Next comes non-directional interviews. See, a non-directional interview is rather in spoken form. Here, no one offers advice, remain neutral, evaluates, and assure the interviewee that everything being said or discussed will be confidential. So this is non-directional interview. It is not pre-planned. It is such kind of interview is taken spontaneous, and it is in spoken form, in which there is no such evaluation is done or no advice is given. Okay, so this is just like a discussion form. Okay, such kind of interview is like in a discussion form. So this is what your non-directional interview is. Next come group interviews. In this type of interview, a group of candidates is brought together collectively to exchange views in a controlled manner, to which the manager listens and from time to time may additionally interrupt to invite a query or inquire extra information. It is a time-saving interview, and it aims at finding different perspectives to an issue or a problem. When a particular perspective or when a particular issue is given to so many people, then it is very easy for the employer to know the perspectives of the various people on a particular issue. So this is what your group interview is. So these were the types of interview, in which first one was your assessment interview, then promotion interview, and problem interview, the exit interview, non-directional interviews, and the last one is your group interview. Now let us move on to the tips for interviewer. Interviewer is the person who takes the interview. Okay? Since the interviewer is a crucial in the interview process, because he or she is the person who basically asks the question to the interviewee. So let us see what are the tips for the interviewer are. The first one is the interviewer has to plan the event. See, since the interviewer aims at searching for an appropriate candidate, he or she has to discover precisely what he or she desires to understand. It is therefore very, very beneficial to write down his or her needs or expectations, which he or she expect from the person who he wants to employ in his organization. So interview should be a well-planned one. Next comes ask the right question. This is very important to ask the right question. See, given below are some popularly used classes of questions with their predicted answers. In this manner, one sees that interviewer has a list of questions at his command. How to apply them relies upon the interviewer's capacity to screen the state of affairs. So for what purpose the interview is conducted, and the question should be based on that only, so that an interviewer can get the right person for the right job. So ask the right questions. Next comes priority of the soft skills. The interviewer needs to observe the plan that has been chalked out before the interview. In this manner, the interviewer will not most effectively be exchanging information through the query answer approach, but also be coping with moments of silence. A brief duration of silence very often results in additional records. So this is what your priority of soft skill means. Next comes the interviewer has to make every effort to put the interviewee at ease. The interviewee may come in an afraid state or in a nervous state, which may be noticed from the markers like shaky voice, sweating, nervousness, etc. So while answering the questions being asked, nervous candidate may not provide exact answer to question of the interviewer. It is therefore very necessary to make the interviewee comfortable with the help of social skill. So interviewer should do all the efforts to make the interview at ease so that he can answer the questions correctly which is being asked by the particular person, that is the interviewer. Okay. Now next comes, let the candidate or the interviewee speak. Sometimes interviewers are fond of speaking themselves, but they have to realize that this practice distracts the very motive of the interview. So during an interview, seeking facts is not as important as getting required information. And for the purpose, the interviewer needs to ask specific questions to get the maximum of information, that to meet the aim of the interview. And for this, he or she has to make the interviewee speak first, and the interviewer should speak less. Next is listen more and speak less. When interviews are spoiled because the interviewers do not concentrate to the answers given by the candidate. They keep on interrupting to the candidate unnecessarily, which results in poor performance of the candidate because he gets nervous that why the particular interviewer is interrupting me again and again. Am I giving the wrong answers or am I not suitable for the particular job? So it makes the candidate very uneasy, that makes the candidate very uneasy there, or he gets very nervous. And this hampers to the very aim of arranging interview. So the interviewer must not listen but additionally appear like listening attentively. In this way, the interviewee will feel comfortable and will express himself or herself more effectively. The next point is time management. See, every interview needs to be finished within the given time. Hence, the interviewers should plan it accordingly. For the purpose, the principle of be concise has to be adhered to. To finish an interview in time, the interviewer or interviewers should avoid arguments during the interview. One should always remember, interview aims at finding the personality type, traits, and the like aspects of an individual, then finding the facts. So time management is very necessary when a particular interview is taken. Next point is, keep a record of the information gathered during an interview. So this is very important. The interviewer should keep a record of the candidate's performance during the interview so that he can evaluate afterwards, because there are many candidates who come for the interview process. And an interviewer's responsibility is to get all the information from all the interviewees so that he can select the best person suitable for the best job. And this can only be done when a proper record of information is gathered during an interview. The next is respect the feelings of the interviewee. The interviewer needs to appreciate the emotions and feelings of the interviewee, although the latter seems to be incorrect. So, show some respect to the feelings and the emotions of the interviewee so that he feels comfortable at the time of interview. The last point is the interviewer needs to pay complete attention to the interviewee. This can excellently be done through retaining eye contact, nodding, smiling, or giving any kind of gestures and so on. It's natural when one realizes that others are listening him or her attentively, he or she puts or explains the ideas at its best. It also encourages the interviewee that yes, the particular interviewer is interested in what he or she is saying. So these were the tips for the interviewer while he is taking an interview. Now let us move on to the tips or techniques for an interviewee, the person who comes for the interview. Okay? So we will see it one by one. The first one is prepare for the interview. Just as the interviewer has to plan out the occasion earlier, so has the interview to be organized for it. As he or she will be evaluated during the interview, he or she has to be more cautious at every step. He or she has to face the interviewers with different questions, hence the beforehand preparation is very important. He or she has to be very clear about the motive of the event and should have or organize all the learnings and the questions which may be asked from the interviewer. So he should be very prepared for the questions like personal information, hobby, previous experience, the skills and the trainings, etc. His or her expertise in all such questions will impress the interviewers. Okay? So it is very important for the interviewee also to prepare for the interview beforehand. The next step is presentable appearance. It is very important to be presentable. Everybody appreciates a nice personality. Okay. As in the case of a presentation, so same goes for your interview. The worried person's appearance becomes the part of the message. Since an interview is a formal event, the interviewee ought to be officially dressed. A casually dressed person always gets upper hand in an interview. So one should be formally dressed when going for an interview. You can't dress in your casual dresses. Okay? Because your appearance also matters when you go for the interview. Next is be polite. Politeness is necessary for every state of affairs. The politeness should reflect through one's speech, behavior, acts, and one should be genuine in it. Even the mistakes of someone can be politely pointed out. So be polite during the interview. Next one is correct and complete answers. All the questions ought to be answered precisely, to the point, and in complete manner. Since the main aim of an interview is to seek the needed information, it needs to be executed with the planning. So, the correct and the complete answers should be provided to the interviewer by the interviewee. The next is effective use of body language. Keeping eye-to-eye contact with the interviewers at once shows that the interviewer is truly inquisitive, confident of what he is saying, and he is duly participated in this interview process. He or she also ought to sit in a straight and a confident manner. The arms needed to be neatly locked on the lap. If you're shaking your hands or you are doing some movements, then it shows to the interviewer that you are nervous during the interview. So have an effective body language during an interview. The next point is avoid criticism. Avoid grievances about the previous company or every person else. Negative statements create an adverse impression. So always speak positive, never speak negative, as it creates a negative impression on the interviewer about the interviewee. The next point is do not bluff. If the interviewee is not always clear and gives approximate answer to a question, it creates adverse impression on the interviewers. If one does not know the answer of a question, there is no harm in admitting it. One should admit that yes, he or she does not know the answer, or I does not know or I am not able to answer a particular question. Being honest in saying no is always better than bluffing the interviewers. Okay? If you don't know the answer, then say it correctly. Do not bluff about anything else, because they need a straight answer from the interviewee. Okay? Now let us see the next point. The next one is avoid to speak more than necessity. See, do not speak more. Whatever is asked, speak that only. The straight to straight answer should be given to the interviewer. Okay, you should not speak more than what is required. Avoiding speaking more than necessity. Okay? So, however intelligent one may speak, the interviewer is intelligent enough to discover the interviewee's intelligence and suitability for the job in question. So, always answer what is asked. Do not speak which is not asked. So, this is what avoid to speak more than necessity here means. Next is thank interviewers. Do not forget to thank the interviewers for having or for giving their precious time and appointment time for you, as granting an interview is indeed a favor. So one should wish the plain good day with smile and politeness. The last point is ask questions. See, do not hesitate to invite any questions to seek clarifications regarding the agency's profile, service conditions, salaries, opportunities, promotion chances, etc. It will not only satisfy your curiosity, however, additionally deliver the interviewer a concept of your self assurance and hobby in the business enterprise. But such questions need to come only towards the closer of the interview, not at the starting of the interview. Okay? And when you sense you are about to be selected for the job, then only try to ask the questions about these matters. So these were the tips for the interviewee. Okay. Now here we have completed your third element of the soft skill, that is interview skills. In the next lecture, I will come with the another element of the soft skill. Till then, thank you.